MAXHUB.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us again this week. We really appreciate you when you guys join in and learn a little bit more about MAXHUB, learn a little bit more about what we do. Today is not going to be about product. Today, we're really not going to talk that much about product. Our goal today is to really talk to you about our service and support and what we do and how we do it and really how we differentiate it with everybody else, right? So we have Jason Sees. We apologize, his audio is a little bit funky today, but we'll get through that.
And I do have a question. I don't know if you can answer this question, Charlie.
Sure.
It's talking about security measures. So Angelica is asking what security measures are in place to protect sensitive data and content shared during collaborative sessions on MAXHUB, IFPs, interactive displays, especially in industries where strict compliance is required, like healthcare and finance.
Great question, right? So the one of the reasons why when we designed our MAXHUB all-in-one IFPs, one thing that we wanted to make sure that we did with them was set them up to where they're built on Windows IoT, right? Windows IoT is a platform where you can put any security measures, security parameters, or anything of that nature that you need. So for those financial institutions, for those healthcare industries that are looking for HIPAA compliancy, you can make sure that the software that you put on that is locked down, right? So therefore, the software that you're using, the applications that you're using are only going to fall within those HIPAA compliance. The great part about it being Windows IoT is that anybody can go, any security or admin can go in there and say, hey, we're removing all these apps. These are the only apps that are going to be allowed to use on it. And then you can put that in kiosk mode so nobody can change it without being an admin, right? So for us and for our customers, we really tell them you're managing this just like you would manage a normal laptop, PC, or any other device that you bring into the healthcare industry. You can put those strict requirements on those devices and on those pieces, just like you would any other laptop or PC device that you'd be using. So the security can be either as strong and rigid as you want, or as open and flexible as you like as well, right? So you have that flexibility with our interactive flat panels to be able to pick and choose. So hopefully that helps. If you're looking for more of what applications are HIPAA compliant, what products are HIPAA compliant, we can definitely work with you and talk to you about the different Zoom applications, Microsoft Teams applications, RingCentral, Google WebEx, and all those and how they can work to be compliant as well for you. So, but yeah, that was a big piece of the puzzle. And I will tell you this why today. A lot of financial institutions, a lot of Fortune 1000 accounts in the US are really looking at MAXHUB because they understand that they can put their own security parameters on that Windows IoT device. They do it today with all their other devices that are Windows based. They can do it with us as well. So, okay. Hey, Jason, we got you back yet?
Yeah, I think we're ready to go.
There you go. Let's go with this. They just do me a favor, Jason. Start from the beginning. Let's take it from the top.
We can back up.
Hey, no problem. Cool. Go ahead, kick it off, Jason.
All right, so getting back on track here, we're going to review the MAXHUB Stellar Service Program. I'm your host, your Senior Technical Support Manager, Jason Sees. Let's go over a quick overview. We're going to cover service, in particular hardware and software support, installation support, certification, and warranty. This is your US service team, myself and Hugo, who's my direct contact to the factory. We can be contacted via email, jason.sees@maxhub.com or hugo.ding@maxhub.com. Use my direct support directly to the factory. For U.S. service, we make sure to offer top-notch installation support, hardware and software for installation, maintenance, and troubleshooting. We want to go ahead and make sure that the end user has the best experience possible with MAXHUB. You can get in contact with MAXHUB technical support 4 different ways. Our first through MAXHUB Global Support Center. This is a direct link that you can go ahead and sign up for a service request ticket. Any one of my technical support people can reach out to you within 24 hours. You will get an update when your service ticket status has changed. I would request that anytime that you service or request any service from MAXHUB that you provide your model number, your serial number, as well as your original invoice. You can contact us at support@maxhub.com. Both myself, Hugo, and Andy, our products manager, has access to this email, and we will turn around and contact you the very same day. You can contact us via phone at 949-270-5325 and leave a message for myself. Again, include your product number, a brief explanation of your issue, and I'll contact you back at my earliest. And also you can go ahead and contact your original retailer or integrator for help. This is kind of our, for lack of better words, what we call a monkey chart. This is how we go ahead and decipher what kind of technical support we need to render. As an example here, you'll go ahead and submit your trouble request through MAXHUB Global Support Center or email or a call. From there, we'll go ahead and decide or start the troubleshooting process, deciding whether or not you have a software or hardware issue. From there, we'll go ahead and remedy or provide a remedy, whether it has to be resolved remotely or if we have to come on site to do the repair. Like I said, just a brief overview of how we go ahead and render service for DV-LED, UC, IFP, commercial display, and all of our other products. In particular with DV-LED, as soon as I find or I get a purchase order, I'll make contact with the integrator. In that documentation or that congratulations letter, we'll go over a pre-installation checklist. I'll give a brief introduction of who I am and what I do and how I also provide technical documentation for that particular install, whether it be a custom install or one of our Raptor series all-in-one walls. We'll go over installation support where I come on site and I supervise the installation and aid the integrator from start to finish, making sure that your wall is installed up to compliance with MAXHUB expectations. I'll also go over here and later a certification, how you can become a certified professional MAXHUB installer. And then also we'll discuss travel arrangements. Typically I need 2 weeks notice. And once I have your dates on my books, those are your dates. I tend not to go ahead and deviate from that just because I have other projects that I have to commit to. So once I have a date for you, those are your dates for specifications. I will not move them on you. Obviously there's some room for, I guess the right word, if something would come up that would, for sight unseen, we can go ahead and work with you.
And Jason, give people an idea. If you can just go back to that slide for one quick moment, right? Really, folks, one of the reasons why I feel Jason is so successful and our entire team is so successful in our deployment and installation is because all the pre-work that goes in, right? There's no questions. There's nothing that's overlooked before we get into the installation piece of the puzzle. I will tell you, Jason and his team, they've done installations where they've need seismic screws because it was going into it to a what was it, like an airplane hangar?
Yes.
Or it was earthquake in California proof. And they've also gone into cinder block as well. How would you know that unless you asked about it ahead of time, right? So the great part about this, and this is where we really need your help as well, make sure you let us know. Make sure you let us know what's going on so when Jason's in there, he can walk you through it all. And a lot of that he goes through his pre-install checklist and the calls with you as well, just to confirm everything. So really is a big portion of it. A lot of companies will just, I say, show up and then deal when they're there. We really try and take care of any issues ahead of time. We try and make sure we take care of it in the pre-install. So it just allows everything to flow for Jason when he arrives on site. So.
You're
Good,
absolutely correct, Charlie. Absolutely correct.
We do have one question that I'd like to answer. So they're asking if we have capability for outdoor installation, and I would just say wait and see. We have a new product coming out that we did show at InfoComm. So that new product will be announced shortly for outdoor installation.
and you all know me. I'm on the call, so the answer is yes, right? I know Amy's going. Wait, Charlie, I got a press release coming out soon. You can't say it. Yeah, we've announced outdoor. We showed outdoor at Infocom, so you will see outdoor products, and we've already started to quote them out as well, right? So if you have an outdoor application that you need, now once again, what I tell everybody, we're not doing the Bellagio, okay? But we are doing high schools, we're doing customs, we're doing churches, we're doing those types of signage out there. So if you're looking for those type of applications, we're more than happy to work and help with you.
And if you got a Bellagio, I'll work with that too.
I'm sure Jason will go out there and check it out. He'll see what's going on with it. So.
Absolutely. So as Charlie said, I want to go ahead and basically mitigate any problem we could potentially have during installation. I like to arrive on site, ready to go. Our walls, as you'll see, are fairly easy to install compared to some others out there. So, and that has a lot to do with getting pre-check done, being ready, and knowing what to expect. And I definitely help out with that. So here's an example of my pre-installation form. Basically from the top to finish is, we go ahead and identify the project name, the installer, job location, the date of installation, and the size of screen or DV-LED model. And then we go ahead and I list all my point of contacts for that particular integrator or installer. And then we get down to the nitty gritty with the installation type. We have a couple different installation types, a wall mount, a rolling stand, flying mounts. And then we get into, okay, well, if we got a wall mount, are we installing on drywall? Do we got plywood backing? Is there any backing? Anytime that we go ahead and install on plywood directly, I'd highly, highly recommend you use grade A plywood. This will help with the minimal warping or expansion or contraction that would potentially happen down the road. And with the expansion or contraction of plywood, depending on where you are in the United States, perceives to be a problem. It will cause defects in your wall. You will see lines. You will see obscurities that you normally wouldn't see on a normal like drywall installation. So anytime you want to use plywood, whether it be a surface mount or for backing, always 100% go for your grade A plywood. If you're in the market for doing a flying mount, we have a couple third-party manufacturers that we've been working with. So if that's an option, go ahead and feel free to reach out to me and I can get you in contact with those. And then we go into power requirements. Are all of our walls are able to accept 240 or 120 volts AC, depending on where you are in the world. Here in the United States, it's predominantly 120. And either you'll have single or dual dedicated recessed circuits. Each application is different, so I help you identify, work with you and the electricians to know exactly what you need prior to installation day. And then that includes inputs and signaling. Our all-in-ones can handle up to 3 HDMI inputs. That's 2 interior and 1 exterior, as well as external control. So you might need a Cat5 shielded for LAN control or a serial RS-232 for control. So we go ahead and identify those inputs that you need, cabling that you need. So that way, when I arrive on site, we can go ahead and do our unboxing, do our inventory, and get started. It becomes seriously plug and play. Some additional requirements, depending on where the wall is. If you're doing a high application, we might need access to ladders or scissor lifts, or if there's any specialty tools that we need on site prior to installation day, we go ahead and mitigate that and make sure that everybody is in the know to have those tools ready to go. Moving right on, I always have the installer provide mounting hardware. Yes, my walls do come with concrete toggle bolts. However, it's come up many times where they need the installation or the contractor wants specs for those particular pieces of hardware. I'm going to be honest. It is very, very hard, depending on what vendor provides that hardware, to get the exact specs of that particular concrete anchor. So what I do recommend If you're installing on drywall or a plywood installation, I always and forever will always use 1/4 inch toggle bolts. They're the easiest way to do the application when it comes to mounting your wall brackets. In cement or cinder block applications, I'll always recommend 3/8 redhead screw anchors or similar. Some integrators have a favorite, and I'm fine with that as long as they pass the loading spec of the wall. I have not a problem. The one thing there that you have to be cognitive of is if you use a wall anchor that has a nut and washer, it has to be able to clear and make enough clearance for the actual physical cabinet to mount to the bracket on the wall. Sometimes, depending on the limitations of the wall and the size of the anchor, sometimes the head of that screw or that nut will protrude and create inadequate clearance for the bracket. So that's one thing that we don't want to lose oversight on. I see I skipped. Are there any questions with pre-install, or do you want to use questions later?
No, as I get questions that I think fit in, I'll ask. I'm answering a lot of questions just, online. So
Okay.
I can make sure that, because, some of them are a little bit more in depth or they're not identical on topic. So
Okay.
I'll keep on asking these questions. If I see one that'll pop up, I'll definitely bring it up to you.
Awesome. All right, so and then just kind of following through on the checklist, we go ahead and identify a proper number of power outlets behind the wall. I will always recommend do not use clock circuits. Yes, they are recessed, but by the time you go ahead and try to plug into them and the rigidity of the cable, there's not enough clearance, adequate clearance without pinching the cable and pushing on the wall to make that work. Use a media box that you can go ahead and house both power and data. And again, we can talk as far as where that location is. Again, depending on the application, I'll go ahead and suggest the best for you. Cabling run install, we discussed removing existing hardware. Sometimes you're replacing LCD walls, bezels, other hardware prior to DV LED. It's necessary that those are cleared from your mounting surface and prepped prior to install. We went over external communications briefly, confirmed delivery dates, point of contact, access. And the one thing that a lot of people overlook is they don't realize how much disposed or garbage we have at the end of the project. You have wooden crates, you have cardboard boxes, you have ESD packaging, you have foam. There is a lot of garbage. I'd highly recommend a construction dumpster or a way to haul all that garbage off site. I always love to go ahead and exit the job site looking better than what I came to.
Hey,
all right.
Jason, do me a favor. Can I pause you for 1 second? I just want to answer some of these questions online. I'm answering some on the chat features, but I want to make sure everybody's aware of them and hears about them, because I think there's some really good questions. And I will say some of them are in line with exactly what you're talking about. Some of them are more in depth. So let me touch on them. If you want to jump in, I'll give you my answer. And then Jason, if you want to chime in, you're more than welcome to, right? So one of the questions is, does MAXHUB leverage AI and automation into its service program to enhance user efficiency today? The answer is no, not today. Once again, we're starting to build off this entire team and this program. So we are looking to add in more automation. We're already reviewing several different programs that are out in the market today, and to make sure that they can integrate seamlessly across our diverse company. Please remember, MAXHUB is not just a US company, right? MAXHUB is not just in the US. We are a global company. So as we look to build these automations, we want to make sure that they can seamlessly integrate worldwide, not just in the US. So should there be any problems, batch problems with a certain product, we can capture it very early on. So those are things that we're looking for today, and that we're looking in different automated systems to try and help us do. So today it's very hands-on. Thankfully, we got Jason, we got his team to help us do that, but you're going to see more and more of that coming around as well. I would say we've had some questions about, what can customers expect from MAXHUB in the future regarding our services and our programs today? I would tell you, I've been here for 2 years now, right? Jason, I think you've been here for almost a year, right? In that time frame, maybe a little bit over a year, little over a
Year
year.
and a half.
Yeah. So I would tell you, we've had nothing but compliments about our services. And if you don't believe me, feel free to reach out to our customers, reach out to our users out there. Everybody sings the praises of Jason, all of our current resellers that we work with today. Now, are we continuing to grow on that? Yeah, definitely. Right. Today, we offer a 72-hour turnaround time for warranty products. Right. Obviously, as we continue to build more automation into it, as we continue to build the team out, our goal is to really turn that around in about 24 business hours, make it much more seamless, make it much more easier for people. We're also working to beef up our overall team, right? So we're actually in the process of hiring people for our Lake Forest office so we can cut down our wait times and callback times, right? So a lot of those things you're going to see happening in Q4 and early Q1 for us. We've had a boom when you start looking at our DV LEDs and our custom displays. I ran a report for my team and it kind of blew their mind away. And I'm a publicly traded company, so I got to be a little careful as I say numbers here. Year over year, we've had well over 200% growth, right? That's a large year over year growth. And it's only growing. Typically, right now, we're seeing a 50 to 60% quarter over quarter growth, right? So the great part for MAXHUB so far, because we build such phenomenal products, we haven't had any major struggles in tech support. As we've continued to grow more products out and we continue to build our product line, we're definitely bringing in more support teams to help make sure we can answer your questions, cut down our overall tech support time, and make sure we can get more products to you quicker. So we're constantly looking about how we continue to grow and build this out and make it more simpler for you all out there, right? So, I think another question that came up was, picture specs. Just so you know, our images on our displays vary from design to design. We have some products that will do 4K resolution. We have some that'll do 720p, 1080p. We have 5K 21:9. So a lot out there. So I just wanted to touch on some of those questions for you. Please continue to ask your questions in chat. I'm typing my little fingers away as fast as I can to answer as quickly as possible. But Jason, I just wanted to jump on real quick and answer some of those live. So, and feel free to add if you like as well.
Absolutely.
To add to that too, Charlie, if you don't want to take our word for it, you can take SCN because we won the installation awards at Infocom. We also won them last year as well, not just this year. So I think other people think we're doing a good job, at least in our service area. So
my bad. I forgot to add that part. Oh yeah. Hey, by the way, we won the award for SCN installation. I mean, that's pretty good right there. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Good, Jason. You can continue on, man.
All right. So on the day of installation. Oh, what happened? Oh, we're good. Let me pause this. So on the day of installation, I'll stir up the site. Like I said, this will all be predetermined. The date, the time, everything. We'll go ahead and make sure all the containers are accounted for. Depending on the size of your wall, you have various crates that will be delivered. In my all-in-ones, the most you'll have is 3 crates. We'll go ahead and make sure that all the serial numbers match, and then we'll go ahead and begin to open the crates and identify the boxes and the contents. I will say while we're on this call that the tape or the blue tape boxes, which you can see there on the left-hand side, probably your most important boxes. With all of our balls, we provide a tool for complete installation, complete tool set. Give you all the hand tools so you could instinctively show up on a job site without anything. You'll have everything at the tips of your fingertips to go ahead and do the installation. Also, that includes all your spare parts, your bill of materials, your everything, instructions, anything that you need for that install. It will always and forever be in the boxes with the blue tape. All right. So after we go ahead and validate, you have everything on site, all the parts are there. We can go ahead and begin the installation. So this is a time-lapse view of a LM220A07 in one of my schools in the New York school system. We basically show you start to finish the install. So as we begin here, we've already taken account for all the items within the crates. We began to go ahead and assemble the mounting brackets. In this particular application, there's a total of 6 brackets, a total of 4 what we call long brackets, and a total of 2 what we call short brackets. These brackets get butted up to one another using mending plates. So you'll have 2 long and a short on the bottom, and 2 long and 1 short on the top. It does not matter what configuration they are, as long as they're all mended together. All right. We'll go ahead and start this. So here we're taking measurements. Depending on if you need clearance from the bottom or the top, this particular application, they wanted the bottom of the control bar to be flush with the plywood, right? So we go ahead and we start doing the bottom wall bracket first, and then we measure from it to the top. If you need a clearance from the top, you would go ahead and take your measurements and mount your top bracket first. So it kind of depends on the application. You'll also notice that the mounting bars are on the floor. One particular thing I like about this is being able to measure dead center of your wall bracket and then measuring dead center of your wall. That'll allow you to go ahead and line up the center bracket to the center of the wall, making sure that the wall, the DV-LED wall, will be centered on your physical mounting wall. So here we are setting up the bars, marking all of our holes, and you'll see Rob come in and drill all the holes. Again, we're using 1/4-inch toggle bolts, which is way more. I think there's a total of 42 toggle bolts for this one wall. And obviously the load bearing for each toggle bolt is about 265 pounds. This wall is just over 700 pounds by itself.
Jason, let me ask you this, just so everybody knows. I know we're doing a quick view of this and a time lapse photography. I can't think of that word for a moment. How long did this actually take? How long did the actual unboxing and installation take?
So this particular application, it took about 8 hours. It really depends on your installation crew. I've had the same wall set up in about 5 hours. It kind of depends on how proficient and how well versed your installation team is.
Right.
All my walls, though, I've always had installed in less than 1 working day.
And if I could also say to this point, folks, just so you're aware of how, I don't want to say simple, but non-complex this process is. At Infocom for the last 3 years, I, sales guy, Charlie, has helped install, and our sales team has installed all the DV-LEDs that go into our trade show booths. So if you're looking to see, hey, how can I make sure this is simple and easy? When the MAXHUB sales team can do it, you know it's pretty simple and easy, right? Not that I want to knock on us a little bit, but that's kind of what you have, right? So to give you guys an idea. So go ahead, Jason.
Absolutely. And then you'll see, so I want to strongly emphasize that I'm on site to oversee the installation, not conduct the installation. But I'm not one that will go ahead and sit back in a chair and just watch somebody work. I am actively helping and aiding in the installation. All right, bottom bar is up. I'm going to go ahead and make measurements to align the top bar. I always travel with a 13-foot telescoping tripod and laser level. I will always and forever bring that out in your first installation. Again, making our holes, the toggler bolts. I hang the second wall bracket. And then it's imperative that these 2 brackets are parallel to each other down to the millimeter. If they're too close to one another, you won't be able to mount your cabinets. If they're too far, all your load bearing is on the top bracket and not the bottom bracket. You want to make sure that the faces are flush, so you don't have any bending or convex concave. You want to make sure that if you do, you have adequate wedges to go ahead and wedge the bars. Okay, so we begin assembling of the columns. This particular wall is a 220, so it's 8 cabinets high per column. It is shipped in half. You'll have 4 cabinets lower and 4 upper that you'll have to go ahead and bolt together and bracket together. Once they're together, you go ahead and hang them directly on the wall mounts. And that's what you see here. Once all 8 of your columns are hung, we go ahead and make sure all the alignment pins and the cam locks are locked together, making these 8 columns one continuous unit. Sorry.
Hey, Jason, I got a great question for you. And I want to have you answer this one live. What's the best way you have found to measure to make sure the lower bar and the upper bar are carrying weight evenly?
So again, that comes down to millimeters. I have a metric tape measure that I travel around with, and will go ahead and one of the foremost things I'll always tell my integrators during pre-check is all my measurements are millimeters. Do not try to go ahead and convert millimeters to inches, because you're going to find out that you're going to have a measurement of, say, like 27 inches or 27.014 inches. Where's that 0.014 on a tape measure? It's not there. So I recommend investing in a metric tape measure. They're about $6. So you want to make sure absolutely one, you know how to use it, how your integrators need to know how to use it. And that's going to set you up for success when it comes to mounting these bars.
And Jason, I think to that point, one part that a lot of people don't know is we've already put all these systems together before they arrive on site, right?
Correct.
And in judging the weight of it, that's why we've set them up the way we are. That's why we're so precise in the measurements on it, because we know if these are set up properly and at the right height, they are going to carry the appropriate weight for each rack, and that way it's what we've told you ahead of time. So it's, once again, it's all that pre-install, it's all that pre-check, it's all that pre-build that we've done beforehand to make it simple and easy for you all to just get out there and get those right and set it up. And hey, one other question, and Jason, you're doing great. One other question came up, and I want to answer this for everybody because I think it's really good. What sets MAXHUB's service program apart from competitors in the AV and collaboration solutions, particularly in terms of advanced technologies or unique offerings? So we're focusing today on the service program. So I'm going to talk about the service program for a moment. And Jason, feel free to jump in if you like.
All right.
When companies ask me, hey, why is your service any different than anybody else? I really tell them, I said, look at what we do for you. Look at what we bring in, right? We make sure that we do all the pre-install. We make sure that we've done the pre-checklist. We make sure that we go through the CAD drawings with you. We make sure we talk to you about the engineering design that's going to go into the room. We make sure that we talk about the power with you. We don't just hand you a piece of paper and say, here you go, this is what we need. We walk you through that entire process. We walk the reseller and the end user through that entire process. Then Jason goes on site with your installation team for the resellers, and he does the full training. He's not just sitting there watching. He is hands-on going up on those ladders, setting it up, helping install that. I've said all this. There is not an additional line item charge for this. This is all included in the price of the MAXHUB DV LED solution. If you take a look at other manufacturers, they all have line items that are built in. Some of them, they won't let you take them out. They're mandatory. They're there. They got to stay there. Not with MAXHUB. MAXHUB, this is included in the price of the product for us to do all that pre-install, make sure that it's going to work, make sure that it's going to install, make sure that you have everything you need from day one, so your installation goes flawlessly. There aren't many other companies that do that for free. I don't know of any that do it for free. Most of them charge a very hefty price for it. That's where we really set ourselves apart. And then take a look at the training, take a look at the knowledge that he's able to give your engineering teams and installation teams on site, the training of it, how it goes, how it works, how it sets up, how you do the maintenance on it, how do you check it for later on. If you need to change panels out, here's what you do. That's a lot. That's a lot for zero cost. Zero cost to you. Cost to MAXHUB, obviously. Zero cost to the reseller. Zero cost to the end user. That's included in the price. So when you talk about how do we set ourselves out and what we do to make ourselves different, we set everybody up for success. We set your reseller and we set your end users up for success by making sure we help them set out. Jason, anything that I missed in that?
No, I think you hit it right on the head.
Cool. Just want to make sure I hit it for everybody. So go ahead, continue on, buddy.
Absolutely. So once all the alignment pins are together and the cam locks are locked in, we go ahead and run power. We go ahead and mount our control bar, which you'll see here in shortly. And then we always assemble with the wall hot. What I mean by hot is it's got power on. This allows us to go ahead and validate that the sending card's online, the receiving cards are online. And when we begin to populate the wall, the modules illuminate instantaneously. If they don't, it allows me to know that, hey, I have an issue. I need to go ahead and troubleshoot quickly. Oftentimes, if I have a module that's not online, it's oftentimes just an RJ45 data patch cable that's loose or not fully seated. Or it could be an issue with power. Sometimes there is a particular communication wire that connects both power supplies. And if it's not connected in the appropriate place, you lose communication between two power supplies and they don't talk. So one power supply will come up, the other power supply will not, and you'll have half a wall working and the other half not working. So as you can see here, we're populating with the wall on, as I stated. You're seeing the modules illuminate as they make contact with the receiving card. You will always see when you're populating, this is the Android-based desktop. So I get a lot of questions. Well, what is that? Is it a computer screen? No, it's the onboard operating system, Android 9. Okay. So as they're populating, we're going through and we're populating per the module number sequence. Now, when I say module sequence, we start with cabinet 1 and work our way down to 8, and then 9 through 16, so on and so forth. Each module is also labeled cabinet 1, module 1 through 4. And that's in accordance to how the wall was assembled in the factory and how it was assembled during Q&A. So anything that you see here is being exactly assembled how it was before it left the factory.
Now, Jason, to that point, I want to just step in because I'm a sales guy and I'm also a guy, so very rarely do I read instructions. So to that point of it, explain what happens if somebody messes this up. Explain what happens if somebody puts cabinet 1, panel 1 on, the bottom left-hand corner, right? Or somebody they just goof up and they put a whole set of panels on the wrong panel. Do they got to redo it all over again?
No, and you can't really mess this up, Charlie, because if you go ahead and mismatch the cabinet, the module, what you'll see is immediately it'll illuminate, but when you reboot the wall, you're going to see a cabinet or a tile that you either swapped or didn't put the module in the right place, and it learns. It recalibrates itself. Now, that does not happen instantaneously. I wish it did. I've had to become very patient with these walls because that recalibration takes about 2 to 3 minutes. And in some instances, especially when you have the end user there and they're looking at their new toy and it needs to be recalibrated, that 2 to 3 minutes gets fairly long. But undoubtedly, it'll always recalibrate. You'll see it repaint, and the wall's 100%.
Yep. And folks, the reason why I bring that up, the great part about that is when you start looking at servicing this, when you start running into it, and look, it's going to happen. You're going to get some knucklehead that's going to walk up to the screen and put their nail on it and just kind of swipe through a set of pixels. It's going to happen. That's why we send you with 8% spares. But when that happens, all you need to do is pull that one tile off, put that new tile on, and it will automatically refresh. It will recalibrate, and it'll look like brand new and nothing ever happened to it, right? So that's a great part about this system. And I tell you, it's why we're seeing a lot of people move from projectors and 3x3 LCDs and moving to more in the DVLED space because of that refresh, because it's so simple for them. So go ahead, Jason. Just wanted to make sure I got it right.
Oh, no, absolutely. So what you're seeing here, this will be very quick, but we're going through and setting time, doing the different parameters. Cable management, in particular this control bar, this is all magnetic. So cable management needs to be top priority to make sure that everything sits in there flush and you don't have any problems with protruding front panels. Going through the components of the operating system, loading media, going through and making sure that everything is working, showing the end user how to operate the wall, full-on training, going through and, like I said, at the end, making sure that the integrator, the end user, understands how to operate the wall, its capabilities, and how to show content appropriately. So this is the end of this project. Like I said, this is in New York School District. 220 up on their stage. Very, very great project.
Yeah, that was really cool. And look at folks, I'll also say this: if you don't think that this is becoming more mainstream as far as DVLEDs, K through 12 are starting to purchase these for auditoriums, right? So I would tell you there's a lot of opportunity for any of the salespeople that are out on this call to really go out and push this product across the board. We're seeing it really take a lot of effect. So, cool.
Absolutely. So you guys want to be a MAXHUB certified professional installer. There's essentially two things that you have to do. One is you have to, well, first and foremost, you have to at least do 2 complete installations. The first one is assisted. This gives your installation team the ability to ask me questions, learn the different installation methods, learn how the wall functions and operates, and be able to effectively troubleshoot the wall if anything would come up. And then your second installation is going to be supervised. I make sure that there is proficiency and redundancy, that you understand how the wall goes together, how to troubleshoot if needed, how to operate it and be able to do the full turnover to your end user. Obviously, we use discretion. There have been teams that will go ahead and approach the second wall not wholly confident, has some issues, in which case I go ahead and allow them, hey, your next installation, let's go ahead and work together and we'll get you straightened out and get you taken care of. So it's not the end all be all if come the second installation and it doesn't go as smoothly as you thought or think it would. And sometimes the time frame between first and second installation, it could be months. So you might need the second installation, kind of a refresh, kind of get me back in there and make sure that you're well aware of what needs to be happened to go ahead and install that MAXHUB up to our standards. So, and the other incentive that I've been talking about and we've gotten permission to go ahead and speak of is if you are a MAXHUB certified installer for whatever integrator that you work with, you will get an incentive $500 instant rebate to go ahead and conduct the installation yourself. As always, you'll have 24-hour support and access to myself if anything would arise or come up. But this gives us the ability to focus on installations nationwide. So if you're there, you have certification, you have the knowledge, you'll get $500 incentive per wall per project.
And just so everybody's aware, this is a brand new program that is being first announced here. So you're hearing it for the first time here. You will see more rollout on it over the next 30 days, right? So we'll send everybody official letters. They can see an email, and then they can start taking the rebate out on the actual registration when they register a deal going forward. So much more information to come. We've had this been requested to us a couple different times. We now have the amount of people out there that we feel can actually do these projects. So you will see this going forward here in the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely. And we do have a checklist, so to speak, for installation certification. These are the prerequisites that I like to see and observe during the installation of your second wall. It is per person. I have integrators that will have a certain number of installers for their first wall, and then second wall, they'll have installers coming and going, and still expect certification. You need to, and I emphasize this, each integrator, whomever their installers are going to be, they need to be present for both first and second from start to finish to get certification. It is paramount. Again, if you want me to go ahead and share this in depth, I can go ahead and send it out to anybody that's interested in knowing what prerequisites you need to meet for certification. That's not a problem whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think we'll make sure we get this out to our rep firms in the next couple of weeks, and then we can start to deploy it to any one of the resellers that you've been working with in the past. So we'll make sure to make it fully available.
Absolutely. All right, and let's briefly discuss warranties. So our all-in-ones, our Raptor series, have a 5-year warranty. That's bumper to bumper. And then our custom applications that require a Novastar controller or processor are a 3-year extended warranty, or a 3-year warranty. Extended warranties are available through our service provider, Azar Pixels, and that does, as it mentions, includes your LED modules, power supplies, speakers, your sending and receiving cards, your Wi-Fi NIC cards, and push button panels. And those are the prices you pay directly to Azar. MAXHUB has nothing to do with we're
Yeah. And I'll tell you, folks, this is really important because we get a lot of, especially now that we're talking to a lot more K through 12, right, higher education, and they're looking for the custom alls. They're all requiring the 5 years, and the all-in-ones, we were happy to go to 5 years, right? We see very few issues with our product in the first 3 years at all. Once again, being the true manufacturer of these products, we understand what our refresh rate needs to be on them, so we know how to take care of them well. So the 5 years on all of our all-in-one systems was simple to do. The customs are a little bit different, right? There's some components that we don't have control over, like Jason said, and the Novastar. So 3-year replacement on that. And then if you need to go longer, yeah, we have a third-party company that we work with, and we can make sure we get you that pricing and make sure we can take care of those deals for you as well. And you can do it annually, or you can do all 3 years. We can work out those prices with you as well. Cool. Jason, phenomenal first one, man. I know we had a little bit of tech support in the beginning, but it's so, hey, it's your first time doing it. That's going to happen, right? Some of the gremlins just get in the machines and they go, hey, we're going to mess with this guy a little bit. Let's see if we can shake him up. So, but good job, good comeback, great presentation all the way around. Really want to thank you for that.
MAXHUB.